Hi guys, welcome back to Javi and Eli Travels. On today's video, we want to show you how we prep and install the new subfloor for the 1995 Itasca Class C RV. In this case, we use a 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet of plywood that later on we would cut into the exact floor measurements. And the first thing that we did was to prep all of the plywood with the Olympic Water Guard exterior wood sealer. This one is tinted, but they also make it clear. We grabbed the tinted one because that's the one we had at our local store and didn't really matter whether it had color or not, since later on it would be covered by the floor. If you want to use it at any of your projects, we highly recommend this product because it will protect your wood from water damage and also condensation. After sealing all of the plywood, we just let it dry for a few hours. Meanwhile, we went inside of the RV and took all of the measurements to then make the cuts on the plywood. Once we had our piece cut, we were ready to go inside and install it. Javi also went ahead and applied construction-grade silicone to make sure it would stick better to the surface underneath, and by applying the silicone, you can also forget about any type of movement or squeaky sound coming from the floor. This is also a method that the high-end RV companies use to build their rigs, and of course, we later on screwed it into place. Once we had the first piece in place, Javi then took the measurements for the next one. In this case, it was an odd shape, so he drew it in a piece of insulation that we had laying around. Doing it this way, it helped us make sure to make the right cuts and measurements. At this point, we also realized that we had to make some changes to the breaker box access door because the new plywood was thicker than the previous one, and so it was preventing the access door from opening. The solution that we came up with was to raise the door, and once we did it, we were ready to go outside and cut the next piece of plywood. Back outside, Javi used the shape he drew in the piece of insulation to cut the new piece of plywood. And remember, when cutting anything in general, the rule is to measure twice and cut once. This rule has always worked for us and helped us save a lot of material, not just for our builds, but also for our clients. And whenever I don't follow this rule, I end up making mistakes. So just make sure, please, to take your time and make the cuts as best as possible. And a tip we would like to share with you guys today is that if you're working with wood or just building in general, it is always good to put aside all of the leftover pieces that you may have up until the entire project is done. That way, if you need any additional piece or any additional of anything that you have, you can use it from the leftover that you already have instead of having to buy a brand new piece of wood, for example. That way, you can also recycle some of your materials. And here we are cutting the very last piece of the puzzle, and I am quite sure that we spent all of this time talking and trying to figure out the best course of action so that we could make the cuts in a way to fit inside of the RV. This piece in particular was more challenging than the other ones because it covered the entire area of the kitchen, the front of the fridge, and also the bathroom. And we wanted to make as few cuts as possible. That way we wouldn't have so many adjoining areas. And that is it for today, guys. Once we cut the rest of the pieces, we just went inside and installed them all the same way, by first applying construction-grade silicone and then screwing them into place. The end result was amazing, and our customer was very happy that her subfloor was firm again. As always, we want to thank you all for your time, and we would like to hear your thoughts, so please leave them in the comment section and we will make sure to get back to you. Also remember that we are on Facebook and Instagram if you want to see more of our day-to-day activity. And don't forget that we also have a blog where you will find all of the tools that we use and our favorite Amazon purchases. Bye-bye!